I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president.
This is a horrible idea, and I guarantee you that prosecutors are wincing watching her go on this.
Look, I was mayor of my hometown for 8 years.
Is that there was a massive effort to influence the political system here in Washington.
The foreperson for the Trump case in Georgia is making the rounds, and prosecutors cannot be happy. Mayor Pete finally went to East Palestine, Ohio. Sam Bankman-Fried is facing some big charges, free bacon, and a whole lot more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Joe. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is Thursday, February 23rd, the year of our Lord 2023. Have been having a lot of technical difficulties. We weren't on yesterday because of technical difficulties, and we're very late today because of technical difficulties. Having said that, a lot going on in the news that we got to catch you up on. This, I think, is one of the bigger-ish, but also like not really that big. But so let me lay this out really quickly. I'm not really following the Trump Georgia case all that much in the history of politics and the laws governing political officials. Generally, nothing happens. The Clintons, basically, former presidents generally don't get prosecuted. I think it's unlikely in all of the cases in the Manhattan Southern District of New York filings that are all going on over there. In the Georgia cases regarding the election, I don't think anything's going to go on there either. But there was a grand jury to hear a case regarding the 2020 election and Trump and his offices, how they handled it. Now, again, I'm not really paying attention to much of what's going on, but the grand jury has suggested or recommended indictments, if you're not caught up on this story. The interesting part about this is the politics being played within that circle in and of itself. The person that you're seeing on your screen, the creepy looking, probably 30, but also could be 14-year-old smiling oddly at the camera, is the foreperson for the grand jury. Now, when you have a grand jury that recommends indictments, the last thing that I think prosecutors want to do is have that person go on TV and talk about the case. It's literally the last thing that you should do, especially if the case is involving a former president of the United States, this one in particular, former President Donald Trump. That's exactly the opposite of what this foreperson has done. Again, if you're not following this story, the foreman, foreperson, whatever, of the grand jury has been making the rounds and going on all of the TV channels talking about the case, which is not a good idea. And the thing that I think a lot of people have caught on to is that she's really, really enjoying it, which is, of course, grounds for dismissal, and that's probably what the Trump team will organize, or what the Trump team will do. I want you to watch this girl on, I believe this is an NBC channel, and then we've got a clip of her on CNN. Look at how happy she looks to have been the foreperson of the grand jury who recommended an indictment on the former president of the United States. This is again, this weird political landscape where we have activist jurors now, which is a problem, going on TV, just so excited. Let me know in the comment section what you think about her. I'll try and read some of these comments. But also, oh, by the way, if you haven't already, before we play the video, would really, really appreciate you clicking the little like button down here and the little share button, especially if you're watching on Facebook. Really, really helps us out, kind of helps us keep the ball rolling. You wouldn't believe how beneficial it is if you just do those, just engage with the post in any way, shape, or form. Click the little like button or the little share button, and let us know in the comment section what you think. Anyways, without further ado, watch how giddy this girl is. Check it out.
Did you personally want to hear from the former president?
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
Yeah, she's really, really giddy about it. And especially, I don't know the politics behind it, by the way, but I think it's probably safe to assume that she thought she was going to have some sort of power over the president that she hated so much. Again, I don't know. Maybe she's a diehard Republican and was a huge fan, but I really, really doubt it. Now, here's another clip of her going on CNN and kind of doing the same thing. We're not going to get into all of her talking about what it is on the case, because that doesn't matter. Not many people are actually paying attention to this. That's why, I don't know, we're not going to get into that. But I just, again, want you for a second time to see how giddy and joyful she is to go on all of the talk shows and talk about her role in issuing or recommending indictments from the grand jury. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Check this out.
Emily, thank you for coming on. I do want to say off the top, as you and I just discussed, but for everyone to know, you are somewhat limited in what you can discuss, recommended as a group to face indictments.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And I'm hesitant to speak to something that the judge made a decision not to share.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what she said because, again, not really following the case, and it's not important in my opinion. But she's just like smiling, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thanks you for having me on TV. Now, just for the record, I am not the only one that thinks this. I'm not the only person that's thinking, this is a terrible idea. Like, what are you doing? If you're a prosecutor in the case and you're the one arguing in front of the grand jury, and then you finally convince the grand jury that you need to indict a former president, the last thing that you would want the foreperson of that jury to do is go on TV and talk about the case. If there isn't anything that's going to ruin the case for the prosecution, it's going to be this. Chances are the Trump team will go and say, look, this is politically motivated, and therefore we need to throw this case out. And they'll probably be able to win on that. Now, again, I'm not the only person saying that. This is Anderson Cooper on CNN, not a fan of Donald Trump, and on a network that is not fans of Donald Trump. Watch this exchange with him and I believe another attorney. I'm not sure who the other guy is. But even them are saying, yeah, this is a terrible freaking idea. Check this out.
This person is talking on TV. I do not understand. She's clearly enjoying herself.
Yeah.
But I mean, is this responsible? She was the foreperson of this grand jury.
This is a horrible idea, and I guarantee you that prosecutors are wincing watching her go on this.
I was wincing just watching her eagerness to hint at stuff.
It's painful in that respect. This is a very serious prospect here. We're talking about indicting any person. You're talking about potentially taking away that person's liberty. We're talking about potentially a former president for the first time in this nation's history. She does not seem to be taking that very seriously.
There's no reason for her to be out talking.
No,
I mean,
it's a prosecutor's nightmare. Mark my words, Donald Trump's team is going to make a motion if there's an indictment to dismiss that indictment based on grand jury impropriety. She's not supposed to be talking about anything, really, but she's really not supposed to be talking about the deliberations. She's talking about what specific witnesses they saw, what the grand jury thought of them. She says some of them we found credible, some of them we found funny. I don't know why that's relevant, but she's been saying we found this guy funny or interesting. I think she's potentially crossing a line here. It's going to be a real problem for prosecutors.
Yeah, that is the issue. I want to read some of the comments here that are kind of funny. Ryan says, in my best devil voice, Trump will kneel before me. That's probably what she was thinking in her head. Christina is like, why is she speaking? Nobody freaking knows. Christina also says, that lady was frightening. She does seem frightening. Charles says, she's a nutcase. That seems to be accurate. And then here's a great opinion here from Phyllis. I think this is fantastic. Wow, bless her heart. Remarking on the fact that this lady, who's probably not a Trump fan a lot, is going to get this case dismissed on the basis of the foreperson of the grand jury saying that this talking about the case before it went to any sort of trial or any sort of indictment is issued. So that's funny. That's a funny take. Isabel says she's an idiot. A lot of people saying the same things. How the F did she get on the jury? How childish she is. She's dang crazy, says a bunch of other people. So there's that. Wow, this is funny. Oops, sorry. Walter says Greta's sister. That's funny. So there's that, and we'll continue to kind of keep an eye on that. Again, I'm not really following this all that much because I don't think anything will actually ever come of it. It's just media fodder for CNN and MSNBC and all of your network news outlets to say, oh, Trump might be going to jail. He's not. Nothing is gonna come of this, I don't think. So moving on. All right, so check this out. I think this is a fascinating story. If you're not hip to California and their ridiculous business climate, they are not the most business-friendly state. Governor Gavin Newsom and California Democrats have been very, very averse to have businesses operate freely in their state. And as a result, they've seen businesses flee the state, including Tesla and Elon Musk. However, yesterday, Governor Gavin Newsom and Elon Musk issued a joint press release, and then had a joint press conference talking about how Tesla is going to be moving their engineering headquarters back to California, which is fascinating because what had to have happened to have that happen is that Gavin Newsom and California as a whole needed to have some huge incentive, probably in the form of tax breaks and tax credits, for Elon to bring the engineering headquarters back to California. I believe the manufacturing headquarters is still going to be in Austin, Texas. But here's a little bit from that press conference, and then we'll get into some of the really interesting kind of political banter back and forth between Gavin and Elon. Watch this. This is just the announcement, and then we'll get into Gavin being a rich guy, giving another rich guy a tax break. Check this out.
So we're excited to announce that Tesla's global engineering headquarters will be right here, the former headquarters of Hewlett-Packard. This is, I think, a poetic transition from the company that founded Silicon Valley to Tesla. And we're very excited to make this our global engineering headquarters.
Okay, so that's basically the announcement there. We'll continue on with this press conference because this is where I think it gets funny in kind of the nitty. Well, okay, so check this out. Gavin Newsom is a Democrat in California. He's going to run for president and try to be the man of the people. Things that I feel like people don't know about Gavin Newsom. Maybe if you're in California, you know quite a bit about his background and history. He's a rich guy, a very, very rich guy who was born into a very, very advantageous financial situation. He talks a lot about how we have to be better and create more equity, which is socialism and bad, for people to be able to make more money and Gavin himself is a very, 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 very rich elite, tangentially related to Nancy Pelosi in California. Also related, not necessarily blood related, but related to the Getty family, which is one of the richest families in the country, has a ton of investments. Gavin is a rich dude because he was born in a very advantageous financial situation. Now, here's what I thought was funny about this press conference. They were talking about how Gavin was one of the first people to own a Tesla, and then Elon throws in a financial jab that I'm sure Gavin was not a fan of, him saying, watch this.
Yeah, in fact, you were one of the first people to buy a Tesla Roadster back in the day.
I appreciate you saying that.
We were just talking about that.
I told him he had my money for a long while with that. That was by the way, that was a healthy deposit you had to make. You didn't trust me.
It was
you
like
thought
100
I was going to take
grand,
off.
I think.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So Gavin's talking about how he was one of the first people to buy a Tesla, and Elon. He bought a Tesla Roadster, by the way. In 2007, Gavin Newsom put down a down payment to get a Tesla Roadster. And Elon, who I'm sure he knew what he was doing, said, yeah, it was like 100 grand. And then Gavin says, oh, shoot. We'll play the longer version of that clip. But Gavin goes, oh, crap, man. people are going to know I had $100,000 in 2007. That's not a good thing for the man of the people, the working class Gavin Newsom representative in California. It is kind of fascinating that the guy who's such a proponent of making sure we lift everyone up has been an elite staring down on us for his entire political and working career. This is how the longer clip sounded. Gavin tries to walk that back. Elon's like, yeah, it was like $100,000, and watch what Gavin says. Check it out.
Deposit you had to make. You didn't trust me.
It was
you
like
thought I was
100
going to take
grand,
off.
I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. Back when I had money.
Yeah, when that was a lot of money in 2007.
It's still a lot of money. Trust me, brother. You haven't looked at my salary,
So,
okay?
Gavin's trying to get out of it. It's like, oh, you haven't looked at my salary. Yeah, dude, all of your other investments, your what's Plump Jack? If you don't know this about Gavin Newsom, Google Plump Jack Incorporated. I think Gavin owns a ton of restaurants, a ton of wineries that didn't have to shut down during the COVID pandemic. Coincidentally, yeah, it's because they were in good areas. We won't get into that. But Gavin Newsom is a rich guy, like unbelievably rich. Probably hasn't flown commercial in a very, very, very long time, and yet is trying to walk that back. Oh, back when I had money, you should see my salary now. Just for the record, by the way, I looked this up because I thought, Gavin saying, you haven't seen my salary now. I'm a poor person. The salary of the governor of California is $210,000. That is 4 times the national household average in income annually for the United States, the average person in the United States. So Gavin is very, very, even as the governor, and the minuscule breadcrumbs of a salary he has, even as the governor, he is far and above most Americans with his paltry $210,000 salary. Back when I had money. Gavin's running for president. Watch out for it. Just know all of this stuff. He's a putz. We don't like him. And I hope he runs for president because I believe he will lose 48 states, which would be great for the country. Let's see. Moving on to this. Speaking of Democrats and Democrat donors, Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced FTX fraudster, got hit with another big charge, this time for making illegal campaign contributions to try and sway the government to his side. If you don't remember this, Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX guy that defrauded those billions of dollars from cryptocurrency investors, was a mega donor to the Democrat Party. He was second behind George Soros, and then had this whole thing, even like all of the media outlets reported it. It was all wrong, but he donated equally to both sides. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, said that himself. All right, I donated to both sides, which, if we're being real, I understand business people donate to both sides all the time, depending on who's where and what is going to give them the best advantage to win, the best lobbying advantage. That's not uncommon. But Sam Bankman-Fried did not actually donate equally to both sides. He donated heavily to Democrats, as you can see very, very clearly in the big old list of donors that he donated to. But the new charges faced against him are pretty interesting when it comes to how he made the decision to donate to whichever side he was going to donate to. I want you to watch this clip. This is a rather longer clip, but it does a much better job at explaining the new charges being brought against the FTX fraudster. Check this out, and we will discuss on the other side.
Here's what the new indictment says about the political contributions and the scale of this effort. They're saying that Sam Bankman-Fried, the defendant, and his co-conspirators made over 300 political contributions totaling tens of millions of dollars that were unlawful because they were made in the name of a straw donor or paid for with corporate funds. So what the indictment is saying here is that there was a massive effort to influence the political system here in Washington by Sam Bankman-Fried by pumping money into the system that he didn't want people to know he was pumping into the system. In the indictment, they say that the defendant and his co-conspirators recorded outgoing wire transfers from Alameda, the hedge fund, to individuals' bank accounts for purposes of making contributions as just loans or expenses. Of course, that's against federal election rules. And to underscore the sort of cynicism of the alleged conspiracy here, one of the details in the indictment really stands out to me, which is that the defendant and others were trying to recruit a straw person who's identified here as co-conspirator 1 to contribute money on behalf of Sam Bankman-Fried, at least $1 million to a political action committee that was supporting a candidate running for United States congressional seat and appeared to be affiliated with pro-LGBTQ issues, selecting this straw contributor as a person to make the contribution in Sam Bankman-Fried's behalf.
So at the end of that was what I was wanting to get to. They were talking about specifically LGBTQIA2 plus ZX4 groups. I lost my train of thought trying to make that joke. Bottom line is they illegally shuffled money around, which, you know, in his defense, I don't even know if this is a fairness comment or what, but in his defense, the SEC laws are, the FEC laws are very, very complicated, and you need to have somebody who knows what they're doing to lobby for you if you're going to lobby stuff. But the bottom line is he donated strictly and heavily to Democrats and LGBTQIA plus purposes, and I don't know. We'll see if anything happens to him in terms of jail time. I would imagine it does, but also I think he probably bought himself a few strings to pull in case it comes to that. Maybe he'll be made an example of on the Democrat side, but given the fact that he donated but heavily to Democrats over Republicans, I would imagine he's going to be just fine, unfortunately, which, you know, hopefully not, but maybe. Moving on to this. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg finally made his way to East Palestine, Ohio, but not before completely misreading the room. He said last week, I believe, in an interview that, well, you know, 1,000 trains derail every year in the United States. And so, you know, this is just one of those. And unfortunately, you know, people are blowing this out of proportion. Yeah, well, do 1,000 trains a year derail with toxic chemicals that spill into a river that feed at a community of, I don't know, 5 to 25 million people? No, this is a unique circumstance. And he's gone on for the last week, really. This thing derailed, I think, February 5th, if I'm not mistaken. I can fact check me on that. I don't actually know which day, but it was a couple weeks ago. And then it finally got national attention. And then after it got national attention, it still took weeks for Pete Buttigieg to do anything, all the while pretty much downplaying it. This is a clip from Good Morning America, Good Morning, Good Day Today, Today, I don't know, whatever show, I think it's Good Morning America that George Stephanopoulos hosts. Well, bottom line is this. Pete needs to read the freaking room. Listen to what he says at the end of this clip, which had me in a dude. You can't say that. Watch this.
The administration has come under some fire for its response. The mayor of East Palestine has said it took nearly 2 weeks for the White House to contact him. There were shouts of "Where's Pete Buttigieg?" at a town hall meeting last week. What's your response to that? When are you going to go to East Palestine?
Well, I am planning to go, and our folks were on the ground from the first hours. I do want to stress that the NTSB needs to be able to do its work independently. But when I go, the focus is going to be on action. Look, I was mayor of my hometown for 8 years. We dealt with a lot of disasters, natural and human.
Dude, you can't say that, man. Like, again, you can't go, look, we've dealt with all of this stuff before. I was the mayor of a very small town in Indiana for 8 years, and we dealt with all kinds of things, so it should be fine. Even if that's what you think, you can't say that, man. I forget what the next clip is. Let me just play. I really forgot what the next clip is. Let me take a peek. Oh, here we go. So the next clip is fascinating. It's on MSNBC, and Mika Brzezinski, not conservative, not on a conservative channel, not a conservative person, is hitting the Biden administration pretty hard. So I thought that was funny, and I wanted to bring it to you. Check this out, and we'll discuss on the other side.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg did make it clear that he should have gone there sooner. And let's just put a pin on that. He should have gone there sooner, and the White House should have done a better job, even though they were in a major transatlantic moment dealing with the future of the safety of the world. The people of East Palestine need to feel seen and heard.
So let's see. Yesterday, also, former President Donald Trump went to East Palestine, shaking hands with people, greeting people and saying hello, while Biden was stumbling upstairs in Poland. So there's that. I do want to touch on this really quick. We won't spend a ton of time on this, but I thought this comment was fascinating. Why don't you talk about Trump throwing rail safety regulations in the trash? One, because I think it hasn't yet been proven that, any of these regulations would have done much. I could be wrong. Who knows? But at the same time, I am just from a personal standpoint pretty staunchly against regulations as a whole, unless they're absolutely necessary. One of the biggest problems with the federal government, and I think a lot of people think this, is that there are too many regulations and it stunts business and the economy as a whole. And therefore, a lot of people saw what Trump was doing as, just get rid of all of the excess, unnecessary regulation. If you're claiming that Trump took any safety measures completely out because he wants things to be chaos, that's a stupid stance to have. I'm not sure if that's your stance, but that's a dumb stance to have if that is your stance. I think if the Trump deregulation of railroads was specifically related to this particular instance, we would be hearing a lot more about it. But I haven't heard anything about it. I think that's just an excuse that the media and Democrats are trying to use. I doubt it would have made any difference. It's kind of like how anytime there's God forbid, a terrible shooting, in most of the cases, the president, Biden, and Democrats come out and say, well, we should do this. And they propose a bunch of different measures that wouldn't have stopped the shooting taking place. So it doesn't add up. So I would imagine that is a big excuse. So, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Again, I would imagine if that was the case, we would be hearing a lot more about it. Let's see. You know what? We're going to end on a funny note. This is, what school is this? Let me see. Why can't I find out? Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech had a basketball game, and this is what college basketball is all about. The fans in the stadium, in the arena, know that if a player from the opposing team misses 2 free throws in a row, both free throws in a 2-shot free throw attempt, they get free bacon. And I thought it was hilarious to watch the crowd react to the Miami player missing both free throws and free bacon being provided to the entire arena. Check this out. I thought this was funny. I wanted to end on a funny note. This is just fun.
In the NCAA tournament for sure. Now they have some vulnerabilities. Now we got to get this here. After Jordan Miller missed that free throw, the crowd's going nuts. Here's why. If he misses the second one, everybody in this house gets free bacon. Bacon for everybody. Sizzled up in the frying pan. The Hokies 6-1 all time.
I just love that. That's what America and American college sports is all about. Corny gimmicks that make people go nuts. I love that. Free bacon for everyone. There's a couple comments in the comment section. I would love to get back to as many of these as possible. The Angela, I don't know what the person's name was that decided to talk about, Trump derailment. I feel like I gave a decently good explanation. Decided to give me the middle finger emojis. I don't actually care about this, but then there's some other comments that I did think were interesting. I wish I could get to all of them. Just so you know, by the way, none of what anybody says in the comment section hurts my feelings in any way, shape, or form. I've been doing this long enough to, just mostly find it amusing. So if you want to send mean comments, that's fine. But I always do appreciate well thought out arguments against what we're saying here. I do appreciate that. So if you have any of those comments, let us know, or let us know in the comment section. But usually any of the comments that are anti what we're saying are just dumb "I hate you" emojis. Which, you know, I wish you could have the brain power and the logic to form a more cohesive argument to state your point. Anyways, that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. Those of you who watch each and every day, really, really appreciate you doing so. If you haven't already, would appreciate you clicking the little like button and the little share button down here. There's still more people watching this show than have clicked the little emoji reaction button, especially on Facebook. So if you haven't done so, would really, really appreciate you doing so. I love Ryan. Ryan's an everyday watcher and just commented, "You're fat." That's just funny. That's a funny joke. I appreciate it, Ryan. I'm really, really, really trying to work on my weight. Where was I? If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB. Coming up next week, I will be in Santa Barbara with Charlie Kirk at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Next Friday, we'll be in Vista, California, right north of San Diego, doing a comedy show. You can find all that information on my social media accounts. Would love to say hi to y'all in person. Met some people last night at the Charlie Kirk event at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills with Pastor Jack Hibbs. Really, really love it when you guys come up and say hi. I appreciate it. So yeah, that'll do it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Oh shoot, I'm going to be at Cal State Fullerton later on today. University of California State University Fullerton, doing some stuff on campus. If you're around there, come say hi. Let's see. That'll do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.